Hello and welcome. I'm Tefera Gedamu. Addis is hosting the 5th International Conference on Federalism. But what are the expectations? My guest today, Taddesse, is the Executive Director of the Secretariat that's organizing this conference. Welcome to the program, Solomon.
Thank you for having me here.
The 4th International Conference on Federalism was held in Delhi 3 years ago, and that's when the Ethiopian Prime Minister offered to host the next, which is the 5th here in Addis Ababa. It's coming up two weeks down the line.
True.
Are you now ready to make it happen, to make it a reality, you think?
Yeah, you'll never be happy until after the conference. But we have done all the major activities that need to be done, and we're in the process. We have last minute reality check, and so I think it will be a very successful conference.
It's been 11 years now since they launched it in Canada, and the topics have been changing over time. Is that dictated by the realities in the host countries?
True. It all depends upon the hosting country. What's for us, for example, it's we are a new federal country, and with this federalism, we want to include that this federalism basically with 80 different nationalities. We believe that unity, equality and unity in diversity for development is our theme. So each country has its own theme, and we came up with ours.
But you have 5 major topics that you're going to debate in the course of the 3 or 4 days.
Right. I wouldn't call it debate, but it's a discussion. We have 5 topics that basically about federalism. First one is federalism and democratization process, federalism and conflict prevention and management, federalism and unity and diversity, and then we have federalism and regionalization and globalization, and the last one is on fiscal federalism and equitable development. These 5 topics really can speak about federalism in Ethiopia.
You said it's a share of experience, but I see bonus of contention in these topics that you've just mentioned.
Oh yeah, I mean definitely. This is the whole thing is about what does it mean? Each topic, how does it apply with the in terms of Ethiopia, for example? How does that apply in Ethiopia? Some people may have different opinion about each one of them. If it is a debate, so be it. I mean, people can air their own opinion, but the reality is what happened. What is democratization? How do you practice, or how do you demonstrate how democratization process in Ethiopia came about, and through this federalism, what are the characters of democratization or democracy in Ethiopia? And people can talk about how do you resolve conflict, and many different experience with different realities can be discussed. And in some cases, as you said earlier, some people may say that may be not the way to go about it, but it's an opinion.
So you're going to have people, experts, government officials, members of parliament talk about it. Is that, am I correct in assuming that?
Yes. It's basically this conference will entail academicians, practitioners, politicians, all sectors of the society will be there, and basically everybody have chance to air their opinion about it. But one thing we've made sure in this conference, all this, there are about 45 case studies will be presented in this conference. And these 45 case studies are based on empirical evidence studies. So they are factual. It has to be discussed based on that perspective. It has to be in that scope. So yes, theory can be discussed, as well as how it applied in what country, in what situation, will be discussed based on this presentation.
who do you expect to kind of come up with an interesting idea in this respect? You've mentioned 45 papers, am I right?
Yes.
For example, we're talking one of the federal states in this continent is Nigeria. You think the Nigerian experience would be valid to the Ethiopian one?
Oh yeah, in every aspect. I mean, it's an interesting thing because looking at it in that federal structure, what are the experience? How did the Nigerians solve these problems? And then how did Ethiopia handled it? So it's a sharing experience. What I was talking about is basically how each in their own unique features, how did they approach it? How did they solve this particular problem? So Ethiopia can learn from others, and we can teach others. So the question is, going back to the question, there are 45 case studies, which is 15 of them are on African case studies, 15 the rest of the world, and then 15 on Ethiopia. So for each topic, there are 3 presentations, meaning that there are 3 questions that was offered. So if we're talking about conflict, that means we're seeing conflict from Africa, conflict from Ethiopia, and conflict resolution from the rest of the world. So these are experience, those 3. Doesn't necessarily have to be one specific or one unique situation, but each unique situations will be evaluated there.
That's going to be a two-way traffic, right? You're going to share the experiences of Ethiopia with them, and similarly, you're going to get some of the experience from other countries.
Right.
But looking at it from a distance, federalism has always been a subject that has its own share of criticism. Do you think that federalism is a way forward for any given country?
Well, it all depends.
Let's talk about multi-ethnic societies in Africa.
Yeah, I think it's the experience of Ethiopia will definitely be a very good asset for the rest of Africa. When you look at it, I didn't have a lot of knowledge about federalism before I start this process, but I think learning from what happened and traveling all around Ethiopia and discussing with the different regions and people from all sectors of the society.
This is when you organized town hall meetings?
Exactly. And so when we went around and discussed, basically we took the question, what does federalism mean to you? And when people start speaking about their own life experience based on what happened, they compare what their life looked like before and since federalism was established, what their life change showing, then I would definitely say this is really, in my opinion at this point, federalism is the mother of all. I mean, basically, it affects every individual. It affects every corner of the country. And when they tell us, these people are telling us from their own life experience what change came to them. What it means is basically it's not even limited just economic progress, but it is involving accountability of the local government.
But is it holding? I mean, federalism, is it holding in this country? Because there are very many people who've got, think that they have got solid evidence that it is not.
Well, I don't know. I haven't come across with that kind of people, but from what I've noticed, it is really, really in the hands of the people. I don't think any force will take that out of the hands of the people, and it has a solid foundation within the people.
We've been into this kind of arrangement as far as state formation is concerned, only I would say 10 plus years. You think that is enough time to be able to come to that conclusion?
Yes, you know, it's like building a high-rise. You talk about, we may be at the stage of, I think, in my opinion, we have done the foundation. The foundation is there. Then going up, there may be different ideas, which is supposed to be. Because what I think some people may confuse the foundation versus on what we want see in our country or comparing our country with others who have developed for years and then they're still never claimed that they have done it, they have mastered it. So if you're ahead of the game and not seeing what's being done, then you have a problem, and the crisis may be there. But I think, in my opinion, that the foundation is great, and definitely what this foundation means in terms of democratic right of the individual, in terms of getting service from government, in terms of education, health, all this, it is a process. It is a process that is really based on this foundation. It is a process that is really being built.
But isn't this something, this is what the critics say, I mean, is this an imposition of from the top? Do you agree?
No, I totally disagree. I totally disagree. It's, as I said.
But this is what they say. There is nothing unifying in federalism.
That's a lot. Actually, it's amazing. A case in Gambela, okay? There are 5 nationalities in Gambela. When people were talking about, they used to fight each other and because of not knowing the different culture that existed there. So since federalism, they are saying that they're learning about their neighbors. They are learning and accepting that diversity, that what they are not, they are accepting that diversity, that culture. And they know that within that diversity, there is this strong unity building that region. So whoever is criticizing, I don't know what kind of research has been done.
But there is always a conflict over resuresources. We see that in this country.
That's a reality.
There were conflict spots because
True,
of that.
True. But the question is this. There have always been conflicts. Ethiopia's history, when we go back, there are always conflicts. The conflicts will not go away because of federalism, but it may not go to violent conflict. So the question is sitting around table and bringing the issue based on equality, discussing issues and resolving it to everybody's interest is what federalism offers today in Ethiopia.
So we have reached a point of no return, is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Because you cannot tell a Gambelan mother that what she's seeing today, okay, to go out, send her kids to school, getting medical treatment, getting being judged by her own language, everything whatever she does, empowering her to be who she is, finding her identity, and being accepted, it's the key, and you cannot take that away from anybody.
But you're not assuming that other countries which do not have a federal arrangement are suffering from this kind of malice, from this kind of problems?
No, what I'm saying is Ethiopia's reality today, we had unitary governments for years and years and years, with 80 different nationalities in the past. The Gambelans, the Somalis have never been recognized. Their difference, their diversity was not included as an asset for us. It was more of the peripheral people, okay? Today, Ethiopia is a new Ethiopia. Ethiopia is equal for everyone. So there is no distinction among the nationalities. Recognizing that we are different in culture, but as far as the country is concerned, we're all equal, no matter who we are. So that recognition is giving everyone to say, I am an Ethiopian. I am a Somali first, and I am a proud Ethiopian at the same time. This never happened before. So your question, in other countries, they may have their own. By the way, federalism doesn't come in one uniform. So depending on the reality of those countries, if that system comes, it all depends what kind of approach or what kind of priorities it will handle.
The first international conference on federalism was held in Delhi 3 years ago, and that's when the Ethiopian Prime Minister offered to host the next, which is the 5th here in Addis Ababa. It's coming up 2 weeks down the line.
True.
Are you now ready to make it happen, to make it a reality, you think?
Yeah, you'll never be happy until after the conference. But we have done all the major activities that need to be But it's a discussion. We have 5 topics that basically about federalism. First one is federalism and democratization process, federalism and conflict prevention and management, federalism and unity and diversity, and then we have federalism and regionalization and globalization, and the last one is on fiscal federalism and equitable development. This 5 done, and we're in the process. We have last minute reality check, and so I think it will be a very successful conference.
It's been 11 years now since they launched it in Canada, and the topics have been changing over time. Is that dictated by the realities in the host countries?
True. It all depends upon the hosting country. For us, for example, we are a new federal country, and with this federalism, we want to include that this federalism basically with 80 different nationalities. We believe that unity, equality and unity and diversity for development is our theme. So each country has its own theme, and we came up with ours.
But you have 5 major topics that you're going to debate in the course of the 3 or 4 days.
Right. I wouldn't call it debate.
Hello and welcome. I'm Tefera Gedamu. Addis is hosting the 5th International Conference on Federalism. But what are the expectations? My guest today, Taddesse, is the Executive Director of the Secretariat that's organizing this conference. Welcome to the program, Solomon.
Thank you for having me here.
The